Hey, everybody. I think we're live. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by today to this live stream. I think we're going to have a good time. I got the guys there in the studio ready and waiting, so I'm going to bring them in here into the chat. First one I'm going to bring in is your boy, Matt Stingray. From,
It's your boy, Matt Stingray. Yay! What's up? What's going on?
Good to see you, Matt.
Nice
Matt
to see you, sir.
Crossed over 1,000
I did.
a while
That was
ago,
cool.
so really exciting.
And it is. Actually, I have. It's funny because obviously the first time I've been monetized, so I don't really know how it works. But then I saw this thing on my page. It's like you have an estimated revenue of $3.78. I was like, yes. Can't even buy Starbucks for that, but yes.
I know. Going in the money. That's right.
That's right. In the money.
Share my screen real quick here and show your channel just real quick in case people don't know you. Go over to Matt Stingray.
Oh, thank you. Right on.
Watch and subscribe to him over there. That'd be wonderful. He's got some new videos they just recently put out. That sweet Zenith Defy.
Yeah, that's
something else. Congratulations on that piece.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's crazy piece.
You got some nice watches, and I'm very envious of a lot
thank
of
you.
Pieces. So that's great. Now I'm going to bring in Average Joe from Average Joe Watch Reviews. Adam here. He is here.
What's going on, brother? How you doing, Matt Stingray? What's going on, Josh?
Good to see you, man.
All right.
I want to show your channel too, Average Joe, because you just crossed over 3,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow. Look at this. You're getting all fancy on us, man.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, my friends. Appreciate that shout out.
These guys are doing some great work, have some great channels. So check them out if you don't know them already. And then watch Chris is here. Surprised to see you, but I'm glad you're here. I thought you had something going on, but we're glad you're in the chat.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good.
Happy Friday.
And you're how far away are you from 10,000 subscribers now?
900.
900 away.
He's close.
Right. I'm sure most of my subscribers are subscribed to you, but if any of you out there are not, go check out, watch Chris's channel as well. He puts out about 25 to 50 videos a week.
Not that, but I do my part.
Hey, Josh, the comments are saying that your audio is low.
My audio?
Yeah, your microphone.
Man, I don't know what to do.
Can you raise it on there a little bit?
I had some technical difficulties tonight. Can you hear me?
Still sounds the same to me.
That helps?
Oh, yeah.
That's better.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just take out my headphones here. Thanks for letting me know in the chat. Is that okay, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Can't I see?
All right. Sorry about that.
Comment. So there we go.
Yeah, so this chat today is no real main topic necessarily. I do have some things written down if kind of things go stale for a little while. But I really want to hopefully get some people in the chat just kind of asking questions or shooting out some topics that they might like to hear us talk about and hear our opinion on. So in the chat, if you're there right now, just think of anything you'd like to talk about. We'll try and answer it tonight and talk through it. So post your questions or topics for discussion down there in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to those things. But you guys have anything you want to share right off the bat? Any like upcoming things for your channels or any topics of discussion that you want to kind of go and do the rounds right off the bat? Anything come to mind?
I heard a rumor.
What's that?
Chris might have heard this one. I heard a rumor that they're discontinuing the 5711. That Patek is.
The 5711? Where'd you hear that?
It was on YouTube. A couple of channels
really?
were talking about it. That's why I said rumor, not confirmed. But yes.
Those are rumors that try and get the prices to be driven up. That's why. But the 5711 is their. I don't know. Could be a guy who has a 5711 who started that rumor. Right before he's going to sell it.
I did not hear that rumor. Who is spreading that around?
So I saw it on the one channel that comes to mind is Paul Thorpe, I think his channel is.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got, apparently, obviously never met the man, but apparently he's got a lot of connections. He used to be a watch dealer and all kinds of other stuff. So, I don't know. That's why I said rumor mill. But I thought I'd throw it out there and create some controversy.
Yeah. That's above my league.
Yeah. All of us.
Same here. I'm gonna stay silent on that one.
Yeah. Matt Stinger, I love the background. That's looking cool. Thanks for the sneak peek.
Thank you,
right there.
sir. Like I was telling you, I got to decide. I got to waiting on another one to put right here. The mount didn't come in, so still working on that one.
You guys updating your backgrounds. I mean, man, I got to catch up with you guys.
Looks good, man. I like it.
Yeah.
I was telling Josh, I got inspired. I was telling him, when I get house projects, I usually like put them off for 6 months and then finally get them done. But I got inspired by your background. I was telling him, I said, man, Chris's looked so professional last time. I'm like, yeah, I got to get myself.
I'm still working on it. I've been working on my whole, like, the Watch Chris Studios is coming together because I have two different. I set up two different areas where I do like the reviews where I have the camera facing down, and then I have this area where I'm going to start doing more of this. You know, that's the plan, I guess. So
Yeah.
Looking good.
Sweet. Average Joe, you got anything with your channel that you want to share? Give us like a heads up, sneak peek of anything that you got coming up?
Well, I've been doing my my best Watch Chris impersonation this past week, trying to upload video after video, day in and day out, and I'm telling you what, man, I'm tired. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
I actually slowed down. I only put out one video a day this week. That's it.
Yeah, you're usually like 2 videos a day, and
2 or 3 videos a day I was doing for a little while.
Like, I'm exhausted, man. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. You know, I have a lot to say about watches, so I don't know.
Yeah. Anything special coming up for you, Chris, that you want to share? Any special collaborations or anything like that? Or?
I have a collaboration with Roman Sheriff that's coming up. It's in the works. I have a few of his watches that I'm going to be doing reviews for on my channel, and then eventually I'll be appearing on his channel. Also, I have a couple of cool watches that I've just recently got in. One of them is right here. It's the limited edition Benris Type 1 Class A. This is a really, really cool watch that it's a vintage inspired reissue of a vintage watch of the Benris Type 1, and it's a pretty damn cool watch, and I'm excited to have that on the channel. Yeah, and I got a few other pretty cool watches in that I'm excited about.
Now, how'd you originally get connected with Roman?
Originally with Roman because I'm just a fan of his channel, and I emailed him a couple of times. We talked back and forth. He likes my channel, and he doesn't know much about affordable watches, and I sort of my channel, if you guys aren't familiar with it, I sort of talk about watches that are $50,000 and very, very high end stuff, but I also talk about $100 watches. Today I actually featured a watch that was $100. So if you're looking for, it's just really, I'm into watches, so it doesn't matter what the price point is. It's more about just the joy of collecting. So that's kind of what I'm about.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like a good bridge between both of those worlds, the affordable and the high end, because a lot of the channels out there are seemingly either or.
Yeah.
Or they're in that in between, 1,000 to 5,000, and they don't go above that. So, your channel has a wide range. So, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I look forward to that collaboration. I've watched a little bit of Roman's stuff. He seems like a nice guy, cool guy, very knowledgeable. I think he has that website, Luxury Bazaar.
He's the owner of Luxury Bazaar, and he's really into the market of watches. He knows the market really, really well, and it's kind of like why I like his channel. They talk about the prices of things and things that are going up or down and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Not that I care all that much about that, but I am interested in it because I'm just generally interested in watches. So
Right. Cool. Well, we're going to answer some questions from the chat here, try and let a little more people come in, and then I'll go through and try and see what questions have been asked. But before we get to those, let's do a quick wrist check. Matt Stingray, you want to start us off with that?
Breitling Avenger 43. Going with the Breitling. And
I was waiting to see if he bought another watch this week. I was like,
I know.
what is the chances he bought another watch? Let's see.
No,
This
I
guy's
got a guitar. I have
it's
to
got
kind of split
worst.
my money between multiple hobbies.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man.
That AR coating is pretty
It's
nice,
crazy,
man.
huh?
It's got the AR
Breitling is
coating
insane
on the
with that.
underneath of
Top
the
and
sapphire
bottom, yeah.
and top. Yeah.
That's insane.
I hope that they improve the quality of the top because I have one where I had to scratch it all off because I had a little scratch on it and I tried rubbing it. Rubbed too hard, man, so I had to rub it all off. So now I just
was
have it on the
wondering
underneath.
about that.
Yeah.
So,
But they might have improved the technology. So the watch that I'm talking about is over a decade old. So
Yeah.
you might be good. But let me know because I love
Fingers
Breitling. So yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Nice Breitling. Yeah. How
Thanks,
about
sir.
you, Average Joe? What you got wearing? What you got on the wrist tonight?
I have a special watch from the Honey. This is the let me take it off. This is the Hamilton Khaki GMT Navy. I know I'm saying it out of order, and I always do.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
I love that watch. It's awesome.
That's a
Yeah.
cool piece.
I like the strap too. The green looks good on there.
Yeah, this is a Strapsco Alligator.
Good old straps go.
So the only issue I have with the strap is the fact that I didn't match it up with the rose gold. So I'm kind of trying to hide it, but too late. Already revealed. But this guy has three crowns, so it's got a lot of complications, but it's a cool watch.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, huge shout out to my fiance for getting this for me.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that one too? I didn't know that. Maybe I forgot, but
Yeah,
how many
she
watches has
actually,
she bought you?
man, I lost count. You know,
Nice.
she's gotten. I'm very blessed. She's got me a lot of watches, and I get her watches and jewelry. So it's what we do for each other. You know.
Sweet. How about you, Chris? What you got on?
Today I am wearing the Accutron Space View DNA. I'm gonna take it off.
Sweet.
My camera's too far away.
Oh yeah.
That guy.
That's cool.
Did you end up making a deal with him yet?
No, they haven't even come back to me. So I've had the watch since they've sent it to me. I've emailed them a couple of times. If they when they come back, I will gladly pay them the money. But
In the meantime, enjoy
in
it.
the meantime,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I hate
on
to double dip here, but Chris, can you put yours up again?
It's the old school. Yeah.
Old school and new.
Old school.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's really
It's
cool.
it's funny because that watch I would say is what is it, a 30?
This is a 34 and a half.
34.
Yeah, like 34 and a half. I couldn't wear it. It's too small. And this is too big. It's 45. It's
Right.
it's almost 46. So it's like they can't get the size right. They can't get the size right. No, but there are some vintage ones that are in the
vintage ones that are in the 40s. This is a 1962.
Yeah.
I believe a couple years later they went to 40 millimeters.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, those the bow ties. Those are
But this actually fits larger than a 34 and a half. I'm actually shocked because, Josh, you know I would never wear a watch even under 38. So for me to wear
Yeah.
this, it wears bigger.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You know, I used to I remember probably if you rewind like I want to say 10 years ago, but it was probably less than that. I would be looking at watches online and different different venues before Joma Shop even, and if a watch was 44 millimeters or below, I would be like, oh, 44 millimeters. It's not big enough. I want, you know what I mean? And now I'm like, I don't want anything that's above 44 millimeters. Anything above 44 millimeters to me is huge. And
Panerai.
unless it's a Panerai, I always say that. Yes, of course. But that's because Panerai started the whole big watch craze. That's what they were they were originally big and they still are. So that makes sense to me. But
Thank you, Sylvester Stallone.
yeah, it has a lot to do with Sylvester Stallone. But I mean, they were big before Sylvester Stallone. I mean, when they had Rolex movements in them, they were big watches. They were not small watches. So
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about the Accutron and how they came back and they're a lot bigger than the old ones. It is kind of surprising. They're really small, but that was the time back then. Watches were small, right? I mean,
Right.
and then, but it seems like we're out of that big watch phase, or we thought we were, for most watches, and then they make that new Accutron 45 millimeters. Is that what you said, Chris?
yeah, it's like 45.5.
But
Yeah.
it fits even larger because of the way it protrudes out.
Yeah, because
that's
of
what I was
from
gonna
the
say.
lugs.
Yeah, the lugs, because it just hangs. It doesn't actually form down, so it's really
Yeah.
And it
Is
also
my
doesn't-
is my audio too loud?
yeah.
A little
Calm down
bit,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Is it still too loud?
Yeah.
How about now?
How about now?
Oh,
That's perfect.
there you go.
Is it better?
Yeah.
That's better.
Much better.
Okay,
Perfect.
all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I was trying to figure it out.
What I was
all
going
right.
to say was, but that's all dependent on how a lot of times, like that watch doesn't really have a bezel like a dive style watch, right?
Yeah, and
So
that
the
makes it
actual
look bigger.
face
Also, it makes it look bigger.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bigger.
Because
It's
I've
bigger.
seen watches that have big, thick bezels and smaller dials, and they wear visually they look like they
Like
wear
a-
smaller.
Like a Seiko Monster.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wearing tonight my first chronograph gifted to me from
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
that
yeah.
Orient solar powered chronograph.
how you liking it? Is it cool?
I really like it. I've
I
been
think it's a
wearing
cool watch, man.
it for quite a while now.
Good deal. Good
I
deal.
did my unboxing video, which will come out on Monday, I think,
All right.
or Tuesday. But really enjoying it. So thanks again for
No
that.
problem. No problem.
Beautiful watch, man.
It
It
is
is a cool
cool.
watch.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think it's a Japanese only model.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, it's a JDM only. Yeah.
Very nice. So really enjoying that.
What is everybody else rocking? Put in the comments what
Yeah,
you
and
guys
they-
are rocking tonight.
Oh, someone rocking a Laco.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Ken Spear.
Back
Thank
is rocking a Citizen.
What's up, Ken?
Here. Ken's in the chat too. He's got a Laco on Type B.
Isn't it? Oh, nice.
Seiko Fu, is that how you say his name? I think he's got the Helm Dollar Monster in orange today.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
Rob's in here. Oris Aquas
Oris
Titanium.
Aquas.
That's a good one.
Random Rob, thanks for stopping by.
Did you see
Oris
the video he put out with that? I think it's a Borealis with that loom dot. That thing is crazy bright. It's like a white and black kind of. I think he dropped it today. It was cool. There's lots of loom on that sucker.
Hey, Crip has a Peugeot, which actually, or Peugeot, I believe you call it. I'm actually going to do a review on one of those. It's a Russian watch. So,
I'm familiar with that.
yeah, exactly. That's why,
Yeah, they're very
put it out.
popular Russian watches.
I was
yeah.
gonna say Chris knows. So
Yeah, very popular.
Chris, the alarm function is
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah, they have.
and I actually take
they
the
make a
watch
ton of
apart and show
different.
it to you.
I had a one of my first like cool watches was a Zeno, Zeno watch Basel, and they use a lot of Russian movements as well. And they made an alarm. It was awesome. They're affordable alarm watches. They're the only affordable alarm watches. Yeah.
It's really
Mechanical.
Really
Mechanical. You can get a quartz alarm for nothing.
Yeah.
But a mechanical alarm watch, Russian. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like
They're
a
great.
little hammer memechanism inside. So when
Yep.
the alarm actually, when the time comes, it vibrates on your wrist, and
They're
it's
great.
really cool.
They're great.
Yeah, I didn't like the watch when I first got it because one of my buddies who watches my channel, he sent it in, and he's like, "Check this watch out." And I'm looking, I'm like, "This is not my style." But as I got into the alarm function and took the back off, I'm like, "This is pretty fascinating."
Yeah,
So now I'm looking for one.
Huh. Yeah, I've never heard of them until tonight. So
They're
Oh,
awesome.
Josh,
They're really affordable too.
Josh, speaking of getting my fiance something, she's wearing the Citizen Princess
The
Leia
Princess
limited
Leia.
edition.
That's
There
cool.
it is.
Yeah.
yep, saw that.
Limited edition, a 1977, man. Maybe one day it'll be a collector's item, huh, guys?
Yeah, right.
No.
In 50
But
years.
but it's a nice watch. She loves it. And
Yeah.
Hey, that's all that
Great for any
counts.
Star Wars fan. Exactly.
If what is that Russian brand? How do you say it? Peugeot or
I think it's Peugeot.
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 If Chris has not heard of a watch brand, it probably doesn't really exist,
That's
right?
We had that discussion over text, didn't we? There's a brand that has reached out to 3 of us.
Uh-huh.
They're probably going to reach out to Rock the Watch once they figure it
but I'm
out.
not having it.
And they reached out to me a little while ago, and I have a set email that I send back to brands that reach out to me. If I reach out to a brand, it's different. But when they send me an email, and usually it's in not so great English or whatever it is, I just say, you know, I send back a set email, and 90% of the time I don't get a response. Sometimes I do, and then I'm like, okay. And in fact, one of the watches that I just recently reviewed was that black watch with a weird way of telling time on it. Mm-hmm. It's this brand. I think they sell on AliExpress. I have never featured any watches on my channel that were on AliExpress, but they responded back and they're like, "No, you can make a review. You could say whatever you want and blah blah blah." So I was like, "Okay, send me a watch, no problem." Yeah. Now they've sent me a second watch. You know. Same thing with Heimdallr. Heimdallr is another one that I have another Heimdallr here. Yeah. Literally just got this.
It's interesting you bring that up because that's going to be one of the questions from Psycho Fu here in a second. Mm-hmm. But he said it's Polyot.
Polyot. Okay.
Polyot.
Yeah. Okay.
How you pronounce it. Let me go to that question from Psycho Fu. Let me find it back here at the top. Mentioning Heimdallr, he mentioned it. Let me see. Where is it? Okay, here it is. He says, how do you feel about homages? So we're going to start that homage conversation.
Oh, man.
Oh, very good question because
there's a twist on this one.
Yeah, than the OG, like Heimdallr.
I have a Heimdallr right here. Heimdallr. This is their homage to the Seamaster James Bond that they literally just came out with. This is titanium, sapphire crystal, NH35. It has I have to say, an absolutely beautiful strap on here. It's a weaved metal, stainless steel, deployant buckle. I mean, I've handled this watch in Omega Boutique, and this is so close.
Wow,
it's ridiculous. And I mean, it has the shark on it. It's a Heimdallr. It's not like, helium escape valve, 300 meters water resistance.
Nice.
It's a freaking cool watch. And then they sent me this.
But is it 15,000 Gauss? Because we use that every day. So
absolutely
it's not 15,000 Gauss.
It is an NH35, so it's like 5 Gauss. But
5 Gauss. Right.
I mean, I have it a little too close to my computer. I better move it. No,
is that an actual helium release valve as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Yeah? Yes, yeah, definitely. Cool. It's 300 meters. I mean, the helium escape valve is just a valve to allow helium
to release the helium. Yeah,
and then this is their 62 Mas.
Yeah, nice,
excellent quality. I have to tell you, I'm pretty damn impressed. What?
Better than the original? Because that's what his question's asking. How do you feel about homages that are actually better built than the original?
So I'm going to say that this is probably better built than the original because the original is very old.
Right.
However, is it better than the recent reedition from Seiko, the SBDC 10? Someone tell me I think it's the 101 or the 125. I don't remember what it is, but no, probably not. I mean, there are no bezel alignment issues with this. This has a ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, very, very similar, but this does not have a 6R. It has basically a 4R, an NH35. So I don't know. I wouldn't say this is a better build quality per se. It's a very similar build quality. But when you consider price, if you want that SBDC, it retails for $1,100 or $1,200, but you cannot buy one. They've sold out of them, or they're
scalpers of them.
They're producing them, but you can't. They're hard to get. This is $169 on Heimdaller's website. So
I just can't do it, guys. I know what you're saying, but man, I just can't do it. I'd rather spend the extra money.
I see what you're saying, but there's two things there. I would prefer to own the actual 62 Mas, which is something that I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on.
Right.
I would rather then have the recent reissue that Seiko did, and again, that's a spending $1,000-$2,000. Now, I wouldn't buy it over the list price anyway. The reason why I like to get these watches in, it's not really for my collection. It's really for to show my audience, because there are brands out there, and if you cannot afford those watches, which a lot of people can't, right? These are pretty good options. You can get a lot of the style, a lot of the look of it, most of the look of it, and you're not spending the money. And it's not something that you need to. Will it be worth anything in the future? No. And when you go to resell it, if it's $169 when you buy it, you're going to sell it for $100 and just move on, if that's what you care about. But it's an interesting, it's a gateway drug into collecting. I think a lot of people who begin collecting begin that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
With a lot of things.
That's the great thing about the watch hobby, is that even though we all have differing opinions, we still get along. So,
yeah. And I think a lot of people will never afford the real thing, and so it appeals to a lot of people,
right?
Because of that. And that $160 price point, it's really tempting. I mean, looking at that from your, it looks like a great quality for that price.
It's a really good quality for that price, and I think this is like 200 and something. And it's
that I think some of these homage companies like Heimdaller, I hope that they'll affect the major brands in a way
to improve.
To push themselves to improve.
To keep the quality, but maybe lower the price, or up the quality, and do better and give us better prices for what you're doing. I think that might be a good thing. I don't know if it'll ever happen though, but
see, I think this applies to almost any product that people buy, from golf clubs to whatever. You can find a better deal that doesn't have brand or name recognition from major brands, and it might have better specs and all that kind of stuff, but they can't. My question is, how are these mainly Chinese watch companies selling these for so cheap? And it can't just be a labor issue, and it can't be that the major brands are just marking their watches up to ridiculous prices. And there's got to be build materials, inspections, or quality of how much they keep stuff out of the watch, the movement, what the materials are actually made of. So I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes
watch industry. I mean, it's been, watches were made in the United States. Watches were made in the UK. Those were the best watches. And then farmers in Switzerland, during the winter, they didn't have things to do. So what they would do is they would machine parts for watches and clocks. That's it. And then they would eventually start making their own watches, and then eventually take over. And now everybody doesn't know that watches were made in the United States. Right. Great watches were made in the United States. Great watches were made in the UK, in England. Great watches were made in France. But all of that moved to Switzerland because it was cheaper.
Well, Hans
the labor was cheaper.
Started making them in England, didn't they? He started making Rolex in England.
So everything started there. Like all the major brands. I mean, not every major brand, but a lot of the major brands started in. Breguet was French. There were a lot of brands that started in Switzerland, of course, like Vacheron, Patek, but there were a lot of brands that started in France. Breguet, one of the best watches, arguably, that you could buy, started in France. It wasn't started in Switzerland. Anyway, the point is now the Chinese and the Japanese, forget about it, they make great watches already. The Chinese are catching up. They're making better and better. They have the technology to machine. Yeah, they're selling the technology. They're making the machines and selling it to the Swiss, and then the Swiss are making their watches there. A majority, if you're buying a Swiss watch, if you're buying a Hamilton right now, 100% of that watch is not made in Switzerland. If you're buying a Certina, if you're buying a, a lot of major, mid-range Tissot, if you're buying a mid-range major brand, a lot of that watch is made in China. So,
Well, also think about
especially
it.
the case and the bracelet. The cases are machined in China, a lot of them.
yeah.
Well, think about it. There's sweatshops out in China. So labor is a huge cost in watches. If they're paying them pennies on the dollar, I mean, you're saving costs right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, the facts are the facts. In China, they make replicas.
Yep.
And they're making better and better replicas.
Scary,
so a brand
scary
like
good things.
Heimdallr probably says, that replica looks so good. Can you put my name on it? And I'm gonna sell that as a Heimdallr, as a homage, as an homage to the original.
Yeah.
And technically, it's an exact photocopy. I've done videos on this. We talked about it a million times, but that's the industry. But then there's something to be said for them, and then there's something that you could say that they're garbage and that you would never wear one. And honestly, I don't wear them. I don't wear homages either. I agree with you. Average Joe. But like I said, I feel like they are a gateway. I did when I first started collecting. I started looking at those, and then I eventually, would buy something else maybe, or I did buy. I've owned, I've owned them, but it's not something that I collect. That's all.
I think you're seeing some of these Chinese manufacturers, because they're making such good watches, they're starting to shift to their own designs.
Yeah.
And that's where they'll eventually catch up, is if you start making your own, and not, like you said, not a direct replica or copy and just throw a shark and your name on it or whatever, but start making your own designs. They'll kill it.
There's another great point in the comments. These homages aren't paying advertising. That's huge. That's a huge cut in the budget as well, on top of the labor costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what Rolex and major brands like them, a lot of their costs is obviously the price of actually advertising for the brand, making all this marketing, and that's how Rolex has made a name for themselves. So, yeah.
Thanks for stopping in, Bobby. Appreciate that.
But okay, you pointed out Rolex. In the case of Rolex, it's the market that's marking their watches up so much, correct? Would you agree with that? Because, like, let's say,
right now the market is
insane.
Yeah,
because
but
the list on a Submariner is like 92. Is it that high? Somewhere around there in the 9,000, and they're selling for double that, brand new.
Yeah, but the reason is that originally when they if you went 10 years, if you rewind 10 years ago, were they double the price for a Submariner? No, you could walk into a Tourneau and buy a Submariner, right?
For what, like probably $5-6 grand?
Yeah, you could buy it for list price, and then you could buy one used for a discount, or you could even, I mean, in some cases on a Rolex, they always had a policy where they really didn't haggle, but there was gray market, so there was a little bit of room in certain circumstances. And their marketing has been so powerful and so good that they've actually been able to just YouTube.
Yeah, we're giving them
ammo.
It's Instagram too, man.
Yeah.
Instagram is like, and that I think there are more people on there's just like a lot of people on Instagram who just go and they, like I've said this again, like, if you're going to buy a watch, if you're going to buy one watch and you want everyone to know what you have on your wrist, what would you buy?
Rolex. Because even watch people don't know. I mean, even watch people know Rolex.
That's it.
So that Zenith that I bought, right?
Yeah.
I was telling you I wanted the titanium one, and then I said, I got a lot of watches that are metal. Let me go crazy and just get something different off in a all white watch. I wore it to work. I had to go into the office one day this week. I wore it to work, and people were commenting on it. They had no idea what is that. And I'm like, oh man, it's a Zenith Defy. You want to see it? I had to explain it's ceramic, and they're like, Zenith? I never heard of that. I heard of Rolex. That's what they keep saying. I was like, well, these guys been around since 1860. So you have to explain the whole thing to people.
These are the same people that aren't giving your Milgauss any kind
No
of love. But
love.
they love your Tissot C-Star.
Oh yeah, yep.
Which I can't blame them for that, man.
No, it's a good looking watch.
Eh?
Oh,
SoCal's dropping some breaking news that you mentioned, Matt. Supposedly it's true. I don't know.
This is more than just rumor now, huh?
Now we can't get them.
Doesn't Zenith make TVs? That's a good point, Bobby Legs. Yeah, I remember.
Excellent TVs. Yes, very good TVs. Well,
you know what? I was going to say that.
And radios.
We had a Zenith that lasted about 20 years.
A Zenith, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zenith. Yeah, that's right.
So you call the TV Zenith, and then the watch
Zenith.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very sophisticated.
Hey, I got another question here.
Swiss luxury.
Another question came in earlier from Peter C. I think it's for Chris. He said, "Did you end up keeping the surfboard, that Bulova?"
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't. I gave that back.
All right.
Unfortunately, yes, I had to give that back.
That's for you.
Yes, that was a really cool watch. That it was a little uncomfortable because of the cuff. That it was almost like a cuff on your wrist because of the bracelet. But once you got used to it, it was pretty comfortable. It was a little thick too. Just a cool watch. I missed that watch.
Did you make him a deal or no?
No, I didn't try. I can't. I'm gonna end up like Rock the Watch over here, buying every watch that
broke pockets.
Right. Here's another question from Rayson. Said, will you recommend people to go for modified watches? I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. Maybe modded Seikos, possibly that type of thing, or perhaps he's talking about like Franken watches that you might find on eBay that have.
I would say I have one. The Seiko Black Bay.
Yeah, you have the modded Seiko. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm all for that because it has a Seiko NH35. It's got the Seiko dial. It's got the aftermarket Seiko case. I mean, so it's, I don't know. To me, I'm okay with that. But it's got the snowflake hands. You know, it's paying homage to the Tudor Black Bay, but it's not copying it directly.
Yeah.
And I have it in my drawer if you guys want to see it, but if you don't want to see it, then
that's a good watch.
No, I really like that. It's I like a lot of the modding that I've seen. I'd like to get a piece at some point. I don't know if I'm gonna try and mod one myself, but I think it's pretty cool that some of the stuff people can do.
Yeah, I think modding a watch is pretty cool. It's like modding your car.
Now here's a question for you. Does it you guys know who Adam Swords is? The guy. Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, I've seen that watch.
It's pretty.
That's
nice.
Cool.
What's that guy's name?
Adam Swords. He's the guy that films for producer Michael. Yeah. He's got his own channel. So he recently went in. I watched a video of his. He recently went in and bought his first Rolex Submariner. And I don't know if you guys saw the video. It's a PVD coated. I think Bamford did it.
Bamford.
And he was explaining in his the reason it reminded me of this is Random Rob mentioned the channel Loom Shot that does a bunch of good mods, and he said he was getting so much hate in the comments about how he destroyed the Submariner, never don't mod it, and just getting tons of hate. And then he brought up the Seiko that the Loom Shot guy did. Obviously, I didn't have it in my hands, but on camera it looked really good. But is there a difference if it's modded by companies like that? Does it still hold some of its value? Do you guys think it's okay?
You know that I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
To interrupt you.
No.
You know that I just blanked. What's the name of the company you just mentioned?
Bamford.
Bamford was bought by the group that owns Tag Heuer and Hublot and Zenith. And they make Bamford special editions under that umbrella now. So that's why you have a Tag Heuer special edition from Bamford. So now these are sort of, like becoming.
I'm sorry, that name just made me laugh.
That is awesome.
It wasn't what you said, man.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Josh.
I like the photo too.
Oh my gosh.
So now that's become sort of a thing, like modded watches but I think they're cool. I don't care. Does it ruin the watch? I don't know. Depends on how.
Didn't
that California company get sued by Rolex, and Rolex won for basically doing the same thing that Bamford's doing? So did you ever hear about that company, California something? They were taking Rolexes and putting crazy dials in them.
That. Yeah.
And they actually got sued. Rolex sued them, and Rolex actually won that lawsuit.
Right.
And they had to stop doing that. But then I'm like, then if Bamford's doing it, I don't know. I guess Rolex decides who they're going to sue, and maybe that's.
I did hear that though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you buy the watch, you should do whatever you want with it.
It's yours. That was their argument.
I agree.
Yeah. Eve says, are modded watches considered Frankens? Let's say 30 years from now, when vintage collectors start collecting, will modded watches not have the same value as non-modded ones?
Only if they come out of India.
Yeah.
And you buy it on eBay.
That's right.
I don't know. I mean, when I think of modded, I think of these guys building watches from scratch and just buying cases from Namoki or whatever the other companies are. Mm-hmm. That's what I think of when I think of a modded watch. But that's not the only modded watches out there. You can buy the real thing, whatever it is, and mod it. So I'm sure she's probably talking about the watches that you can buy and mod.
That's what I was thinking. Like, wouldn't it technically be a modded watch, even if you replace, let's say, a Hardlex crystal for a sapphire crystal? You just made a modification to that factory standard watch. It was the same thing with cars. And I'll tell you what, if you look at like auctions, or even if you go to like trade in a car at CarMax or something, they'll ask you if there's modifications on it. And it actually lowers the value.
Lowers the value of the car.
Yeah. So, I could see where that.
Mm-hmm.
There she go. That's the name. La Californian. That was the name of the
group. That Rolex.
Yes, the Rolex mod. They were doing all kind of crazy mods and stuff to them.
Wasn't it just the colored dials, and then Rolex comes out with the colored dials?
Yeah, almost
anyway?
the same.
So,
I think the main thing was the colored dials, but they were also doing like leopard skin.
Yeah, there's a few brands that
putting diamonds on them.
Yeah.
And Rolex was claiming it hurt their brand, and a court agreed with them. So
I think it was hurting them because they wanted to do it themselves, and they had it probably in the pipeline. Someone beat them to it, and they're like, "Hey, man, no, we're not allowing this." Mm-hmm. And so, I think that's what happened.
Yeah. People even mod, the Casios.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you've tried your hand at some of that with the oil-filled stuff that you've done. So I've
modded my SKX as well.
Yeah,
I did a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Rob, I've seen all Rob's video where he puts all the little color cellophane on the world timers. That looks cool. Makes them like green, red, blue dials,
I'll tell you what, the oil-filled dials make it look like that Breitling you got, though, man. It really gives it probably the best AR coda you can get, But good luck ever opening up the case back.
Right.
That's a messy job.
Very last bubble out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Chris knows about that.
Idle Time says he's getting into vintage Swiss Sears watches from Heuer.
Before they were Tag, right?
I don't know anything about that, Chris. You know anything?
Yeah, I have one. That's Traditionale he's talking about. Or Tradition, cool. Sorry, Tradition. I have one. So I don't know if they were actually made by Heuer. So I've been trying to do some research on them, but they were sold in Sears Roebuck. The movements are made by A. Shields, and they have Bakelite bezels, and their cases look like they may be made from either they could be Tag Heuer or they could be Bulova or Blancpain. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't find that much information on them. I know they were made by a higher end Swiss manufacturer. But idle time, if you know something that I don't, I'd really like to know information on it. I have one. I can go grab it. It's right over there. But they are pretty cool. They have curved dials, applied indices. Really awesome watches.
Were they made exclusively for Sears? For sale through Sears? Or
Tradition was made exclusively for Sears by a Swiss brand.
Right.
Hoyer. So, actually, let me rephrase that. So the Deep Sea is the one that I'm talking about. The one that he's talking about is the chronographs. The chronographs were made by Hoyer from Tradition. Yes. So I correct myself. Tradition actually did make the
funny. Yeah.
the chronographs. Yeah.
Now you said
Hoyer.
Bakelite dial. What did you say? Or Bakelite bezel?
Yeah.
Bakelite bezels are plastic bezels. They're clear plastic, basically. Bakelite.
Like a swatch.
No. It's like, it looks like a crystal. It's like oh,
really?
Instead of Bakel, they call it Bakelite. Because they actually would bake the it's like hexalite or acrylic into the bezel itself.
That's pretty cool.
Schwartz Force in the house. What's
Yeah,
up?
David Schwartz is here. Welcome.
What's up,
If
Dave?
anybody has any other questions down in the chat, we'll try and answer some of these. Yeah, Matt.
I saw a video. Chris talked about the Tradition watch. There's a video out there where somebody repairs, or
Yes.
you seen it. That was the
Yes.
first time I ever heard of that. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he tears it all apart and rebuilds it,
Yeah.
cleans it up. It's cool.
He
looking watch.
bought that off of eBay. I literally bid on that watch,
Really?
and then he resold that on eBay. Yep. And I think he paid like $100 or $200. I don't remember what the hell. I don't remember. I bought mine for like under $200. They're really cool. 37 millimeters. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I want that easy bake oven case. So I'm gonna put some bids on all that. What the hell do you call that again?
Bakelite.
Bakelite.
Easy.
Bakelite.
Cool.
Rolex used Bakelite. Like
Yeah,
it's a very popular. It's a very popular.
It was a post World War II, pre what we know today as plastic type
Exactly.
of material. So
every dive watch had it.
it was used in a bunch of things. The Russians used it to make. If you ever seen like what was the Red Dawn and stuff like that, the Russians used to make. If you see like a orange to red color AK-47 magazine, that's Bakelite. The furniture on their rifles was made of Bakelite. So they used to do a bunch of stuff with it. It was kind of like glued together fibrous material.
Hey, we have a question here from Mr. Pepe.
Yeah, they use it on AK-47 mags.
Pepe, he's the name of the company that takes old pocket watches and converts them to regular watches. Anybody know?
Vertec.
Vertec.
Is it Vertec? I think it's the name of it. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Vortec or
There
Vertec?
only one. Is there only one company?
There's one major company that does it. They're in the United States. They just came out with a really cool sort of field watch. It's like they have a very distinctive case. It's very angular, and they use old pocket watches, usually American pocket watches, and then and recase them. They're really nice.
So that Omega that I sent you guys the other day, the pocket watch conversion was not made by that, right? That was probably
No,
not.
that was a more than likely a Chinese made Omega. Yeah.
Hey,
Gotcha.
speaking of pocket watches, I randomly ran across a cool pocket watch that I'm really interested in. And I want to try and share my screen and show you guys this. It's from Ball. Let me see here. Let me know what you think of this. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow,
What do you
Very
guys
cool.
think of that?
that is the most interesting pocket watch I've ever seen.
Is
Now-
it like a reissue of their original?
Yeah, here's the circa 1920s one.
Okay.
Can you see that?
It's got a bezel on it.
So it's kind of cool. I don't know much about it, but the new one looks really sweet, in my opinion.
You know how ball became popular in the United States, right? There was a major train accident, and Ball supplied all conductors with, or a lot of them with wristwatches, because they didn't have accurate way of timing things, and for some reason, somehow something happened and there was a major train accident, and that's how Ball became very popular.
Right.
Wow.
This thing's pretty cool looking. I think next time I communicate with Ball, I'm going to see if they'll send me one of these.
Yeah, that's cool.
That'd be pretty
cool.
sweet. It'd be a
first.
Yeah,
you don't see a lot of people doing pocket watch reviews. So
here's the movement. I'm not sure. It says RR2102. If that's something, I don't know.
It's a Unitas. It looks like a Unitas movement, but that's a pocket watch movement. That's why a lot of watches actually use that movement. But that looks like a Unitas. It could be a bigger version. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, pretty sweet. I think it's $650.
Wow. Yeah, then it's probably Unitas.
700. So anyway, yeah, that was something I wanted to share. Pretty cool. Bobby Legs says 64.98.
Yep, 64.98. That's it.
Or 64.97.
97. Yeah, it's a Unitas. It's an ETA movement. They're awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of brands use them. Actually, Panerai was they used a lot of them in their watches, and then
yeah, I just want to share that with you guys. I don't see any more questions coming in the chat right now. Anybody, feel free to post any questions or topics of discussion here as we get closer to the hour mark. Go ahead and do that. But I forget, I was watching a little bit of somebody's chat this week. I forget who it was. I wish I could give credit, but something came up about in-house movements, and are in-house movements important to you, and what really constitutes a true in-house movement? Anybody want to speak to that? First of all, answer, are in-house movements important to you? Do you really care about that or not?
Not at all.
Nope.
Okay. 2 no's.
Depends.
Depends. Yeah.
I guess it depends on how much you're paying for a watch.
It depends on the price point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
at my price point, no. At Chris's price point, probably yeah. Right. When you're looking at,
I mean, we're at the same price point. It depends on what you're talking about. So I mean, if I'm gonna buy, if I'm gonna buy a micro brand, I don't expect it to have an in-house movement, especially if it's $500 or below. But if you're going out and you're buying a, I don't know, $10,000 and above,
right?
If you're buying a $10,000 watch,
You don't want an NH35 in it. Right?
I mean, you don't want it, an NH
or SW200 or.
Let's say they put an SW300 in it, or an ETA 2892, and they heavily modify it. A very good example, and Rock the Watch, we've talked about this already. Ming, they came out with the 2801 and the 2802. What's in it? An ETA 7001, very, very heavily modified. How much are they charging for that watch? Almost $5,000. They sold out of all of them. I think there's one more batch coming. But are you okay with spending $5,000 on a watch that Zelos sell for $1,000, or that I forgot what brand I just recently reviewed? They have the same movement in it, and it's like $500. So I don't know.
Whoever this Pepe guy is, I hope he subscribes to my channel today.
Subscribe
because
to all
awesome.
of us,
please. I just want to see you in the comments. I thought that I could for subscribers. I just want him in my comment section.
Yes.
That's
Holy
awesome.
smokes.
Yeah. Very funny. I like
Mom, meatloaf.
that. Half Past Blog says, why do you need in-house movements when you got the NH35?
Yeah. Doesn't the NH35, Chris, didn't you say NH35 has plastic gears in it?
There's plastic in it, yeah, because I baked mine.
You're right.
I mean, it's essentially the same movement as the 7S, and I baked it, and there was plastic. I was picking plastic out of it. I had to return. I had to replace the parts. So
Are there any true from the ground up made movements, or they all take something from these movement makers? Like, didn't Zenith, well, we talked about it, they used to go in Rolexes, the Chronograph, in the Daytona for a long time. They make movements for a lot of watches, and like ETA and Sellita, which isn't a Sellita a copy of the ETA in some case?
Yeah, they're clones.
Yeah, so don't they all clone? So does one company come up, I mean, you know what I mean, design and develop the movement from the ground up, and people just kind of modify it with different gears, different plates, and maybe put some engraving on it and polish it and perlage and all this kind of stuff? Or,
I mean, there are a few watch brands. Seiko,
okay, yeah,
they create their own hairsprings. They make their own jewels. They grow their own everything. Like, they do the whole thing. They have a manufacturer that make the Hardlex. They make, because it's called a Hardlex. It's not called a mineral crystal. It is a mineral crystal. They call it a Hardlex because it's their
proprietary brand.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
They make their sapphire. They grow their own sapphire. They make their own cases. Where it's made, whatever. Sometimes it's made in Japan, depending on which one. So then there's brands like Vacheron, ground up. They do everything themselves. But then there's a few other brands that do the same thing, and they try to get everything like integrated into their own sort of, and then there's brands like Ming who have Schwartz NE or whatever they're called, the manufacturer actually recreate the whole entire movement for them, and it's essentially a new movement. It's essentially there's literally just a few parts that they reuse from the original movement. So MB&F use them. All those brands that those like really high end brands that I was telling you guys about, MB&F and Resonance and stuff like that. They use calibers like Sellita and ETA, Soprod, things like that. But they heavily modify them to the point where, they're really, really heavily modified, and then they're charging, $50,000 for a watch.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, did you guys see that Piaget that's like 2 millimeters thick?
Altoplano.
Yeah.
And it's automatic. I guess that's probably an in-house movement. So it's probably,
yeah. The Altoplano's in-house. It's thin.
That's
super
insane.
Thin.
That thing is crazy.
That's insane.
Crown on.
Yeah, I thought the Nove watch was the thinnest watch around.
2 millimeters.
Yeah, that thing's crazy. Hey, David Schwartz has a question here. He says, do you think Tudor will go the way of Rolex at any point down the road, or not enough demand for their models? What do you guys think? I guess he's saying like how, they're like investment pieces and people, buy them and then the price goes up. Do you think that's going to happen with Tudor? I think that's what he's asking.
I mean, good. Sorry.
I don't have anything to say. Anybody else want to jump in on that? Go ahead. All right.
This is out of my price. This is out of my price range.
So they're collectible Tudors, right? Yeah, they're already collectible. The Tudor Submariner is very collectible. So yes, I think they would, depending on two things though. So Rolex own Tudor, right? So they control the production of Tudor and how many models and how many, they already make a ton of models. Like, who's ever heard of the North Flag? Not many people. No. Not many people have heard of the North Flag. Mm-hmm. And
but that has that Black Bay 58.
Exactly. So the problem for Tudor right now is that the Black Bay is what they sell. Everything else they don't. Maybe the Pelagos is a second, maybe. But they make chronographs. They make the Fastback or whatever the hell it's called. They make a whole bunch of watches. None of them sell compared to the Black Bay. So it's the sports model that looks like the Submariner, and eventually, I think the first generation with the ETA movement is going to be collectible. the second or third generation where they actually started putting in, I think it's like the third generation, where they put the riveted bracelets and they added a in-house caliber. I think those will be less collectible. I think the original, when their production was the lowest and their re-entry into the United States was because they were in the United States for a long time. Then they left the United States for 10 or 20 years, and then they came back to the United States. We're one of the biggest markets. And then this boom of the rest of the world came about. Now, I think there's going to be some collectible Tudors. Those will be in the Black Bay line. I do think, and I always mention in conversation and even in my videos, I think not the Black Bay. I think the North Flag will be collectible as well.
I've always liked the North Flag. It looks, it's a unique style. I really like it.
And it's technically the rebirth of the Tudor Ranger. If you're familiar with that, it's an integrated bracelet sort of field watch, and that's what the North Flag is. It's kind of like a field watch. A lot of people don't like the
basement down here.
Yeah, that's right.
That's funny.
So that's it. I really like the North Flag though.
Yeah. You ever think you'll get one for the channel or anything? Take a peek at one possibly, or?
I have almost bought the North Flag about 750 times.
Wow.
So I think eventually I will buy the North Flag.
What draws you to that one?
What's that?
What draws you to the North Flag?
A couple of things, actually. I really like integrated bracelet watches. So I have a search on my eBay for the Defy. I have a search for the Defy 21, and then I have the Defy Classic, the Defy Skeleton. So basically the watch that Matt Stingray just got. And then I have a search for the North Flag. I also have a search for Lynn Werdelin. That's the watch that I sent you guys that you said you thought were ugly. I have a search for that as well. Those are an independent brand. So the only thing that keeps me away from the Tudor is that I'm afraid I'm not going to wear it. That's it. I feel like I'm not on the fence about it. I really love the watch. I really like the look of the watch. I'm just on the fence about if I'll wear the watch. That's all.
Why wouldn't you wear it?
I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't have a good answer for that. I think I would wear it, but I don't know. When I'm reaching for an integrated bracelet watch, am I going to reach for that? I don't know. I don't know.
That Frederick Constant High Life, that's a nice one.
That is very nice.
That's a good watch.
Yes.
That's why I didn't go with the titanium bracelet Defy, because I had that one. So
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, if I spend that kind of money on a watch, I have so many watches now that, as Chris said, like I'd be afraid I wouldn't wear it. So if I had a smaller collection, then yeah, maybe. But if you're spending that kind of money, you definitely better wear it.
Yeah,
I think I wore 3 watches today. So I wore the Defy, the Rolex, and the Breitling. I had to mix. You have to mix it up. Yeah.
Another wrist check. I switched watches just within the hour.
Oh, so is that the Planet Ocean?
No, this is the
Seiko. The Seiko you put on.
Man, this looks really nice. I haven't worn this in a while.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about in the text is don't put your watch under a macro. It'd be like meeting your heroes. You're going to get disappointed if you put your watch under even high-end watches. I was going to tell you guys, even a super high-end watch, you get enough magnification, you'll find microscopic pieces of skin in there, whatever. They can't get them all out. It's impossible.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe not Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, watches are good from afar, but do not take macro shots, because I just took a macro today of the Planet Ocean, and let me tell you, I am so disappointed. Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. Did you say you were the first owner of that or not?
I'm not. So I think that whoever serviced the watch just butchered it. I don't think
Yeah,
I
they're probably
don't
in
think, I don't
service,
think
right?
I don't think that's an Omega thing. So
Hey, I'll tell you what, I am the first. You all know the story of my Omega. There is a microscopic, you have to really look and you have to see it at a certain angle, but there is a microscopic hair in that sucker, and I'm the very first owner of that.
No,
wow,
Yep.
hair.
It's real small. It looks like it might be from a brush or whatever they use to paint on the Omega, because it's on the Omega on the top. It's on the blue Omega paint or whatever they use on there to paint the actual word of Omega. And like I said, you really have to angle. I was doing the macro thing one time, just like amazed by it. I'm like, wait, what the hell is that? And I'm looking. Oh my god, it's super small, but
might be worth more now.
Thank you for making me feel better.
yeah, that's why I said I don't look at him anymore. I just look at him like this and go, yeah, it looks great.
Nice.
You could see imperfections in loom and all kinds of random. Rob had something on his with that monster or whatever. One of the indices looked like it was dented in by something. So
yeah, man.
Oh, it's kind of like a fine painting. Don't get too close.
Yeah. I do like seeing good macro videography, though. I do have to admit, when those watches are, stunning, even down to the, magnification that they can get it to, there's something about that that's really cool. But you still do see all the imperfections for sure. Yep.
Wow. Yeah. I learned that the hard way tonight.
Make a video on that.
You know what? Thank you for the idea. I think I will.
Nice.
But I can't blame Omega for this one, though. I really believe that this was done, due to a servicing. But still, it's a good video because you got to be careful. If you're buying watches secondhand, you should probably look a little bit closer than I did. So
let me. We're over an hour, and I don't see any other real questions in the chat necessarily. But I have just one more thing, maybe to talk about. It's kind of in line with what we're talking about right now. I was brought up from watching some other people's videos this week. What would be some reasons or some defects on a watch that would cause you to send the watch back because of that defect? And what things would you let by, and say, I'll keep the watch even though I spent my hard-earned money on it? What crosses the line for defects, imperfections for you, where you say, I gotta send this back?
So I know one right now. Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
I just received the About Vintage watch, and I know Chris, you know a lot about them. I love the watch, and look, I got it for free. But even if I didn't, it has a misaligned, like a Seiko bezel. It's got a quality control issue.
Oh,
right. But that doesn't bother me, though. I know that whole OCD thing bothers a lot of people out there, but that doesn't bother me. It still keeps time. It's brushed beautifully. Everything else is actually above average, but the darn bezel just doesn't align. And to me, I wrote them and they said, look, just send it back. And I'm like, all I needed to hear from you is that you'll actually take care of it, so that I could share it with my subscribers. But honestly, to me, it's not worth sending it back for them to peel off the bezel, realign it, and glue it back on. So that, to me, I could let that go.
right. Yeah.
So I saw a channel. I don't remember the name of the channel. I wish I did. I'm subscribed to them, but they got in a Christopher Ward. And at the bottom, the name of the thing was shifted to one side.
That's what made me think of this.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh heck no, I couldn't." And he was asking, "Do you think I should send it back, let it slide?" And I'm like, "My OCD kicked in. I couldn't. That'd have to go." And apparently Christopher Ward, Josh, maybe was aware of the deal, the issue, and
he got it on a discount. It was like 40% off.
Okay. Oh, that's why. Okay. Well, in that case, hey.
In that case, I'm still good. I'm good with that.
The thing is, they didn't disclose that there was that defect.
Yeah, you got to disclose that.
Oh, yeah.
That's not cool.
I thought they disclosed it.
Yeah,
now we got a problem. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That's what I asked him. I commented on that picture he posted and said, what do you guys think of this misaligned text? And I said, well, if I knew that was the case when I bought it, then I could consider if I wanted to buy it or not. But he said he bought it at the discounted price, not knowing what the defect was.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Because he probably saw the stock photo of the watch, purchasing it,
Yeah,
and not the actual watch he was getting.
40% off. So that's an over $1,000. It's that Christopher Ward compressor.
Yeah.
That I have.
Mm-hmm. So he spent like $600.
Yeah,
that's still a lot for that to have.
$687 actually. Wow. It was on the it was a 50% off,
and
sale.
It was quite a bit off. And correct me if I'm wrong, Josh. Didn't he say he didn't notice it till somebody commented, and then he was like, "Oh," and now you can't unsee that. You can't unsee it once you know.
I have a Christopher Ward with a huge defect as well. Do you see it?
Well, it's not yours.
There's two moons.
The damn thing has 2 moons.
I know. Yeah, I've seen people mention that. Like, why didn't they put something more solid to hide the moon down there?
Pretty sure there's only one moon.
Yeah. Oh man, David Short says misaligned date wheels. Mess with me. I agree. I couldn't. That would mess me up too.
What about the second hand? I actually own a Seiko or a Citizen. The second hand, it goes in between all the.
Yeah, people.
Does that bother you guys?
You're talking about quartz, right?
Quartz, Eco Drive, yeah.
Because
that's something though that but that's a problem with sometimes the when you're turning the actual when you're actually you're setting the time, you could like torque one of the hands a little bit, and then it could come good, and then it'll get messed up later on.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of one of the Timex I got. It'll go through about from 12, about the first 23 seconds. It'll be dead on, and then it starts.
You are OCD, and then it's like 23
seconds, and then it's way off when it gets back to around. I'm like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's dead. Wait a minute, what the? And then it starts to get way off.
Yeah.
So it bothers me.
Yeah.
You got any other thoughts, Chris, on what would cause you to send a watch back?
It all depends. Like I always say this, it depends on how I bought it.
Yeah,
and like
how much.
If I bought something on eBay and it wasn't in the description, then I'm going to complain to the seller. So that's something, and then, I mean, if it's a Seiko. I have many Seikos, and then like my SBDC 061, I contacted them and they said, send it to us and we'll fix it under warranty. I actually never sent it back because I didn't want to send the watch. I didn't want to do it. I knew it was going to be without the watch for however long. I never did it.
And you might get it back in worse shape than you sent it.
Could be. I just never did it. Now, I mean, like I said, if I bought a Rolex and there was a misaligned bezel,
you got a problem.
You got a huge problem.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm keeping that watch. There's no way that it would have to be resolved immediately.
That makes sense.
Because it's just too much money
you're paying for perfection.
Yeah, there's too much. It's too much money to be an imperfection. To be any imperfections, really.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, macro, little dust, or whatever it might be.
Right.
We talked about it, but
Yep.
That's yeah. No, not that you mentioned it. That does make sense because I bought that Pagani designed Daytona ripoff that's got like 40 million issues.
You love that watch.
And, oh my God, that thing. And it was $60. It took like 2.5 months to get here from China. And I'm like, I'm not sending this sucker back. I'm not even going to try to. For what? I can keep it to say, look, I got an example of a terrible one since there's so many videos out there saying they're the best thing since sliced cheese.
You compared that to the Invicta, and the Invicta actually
the Invicta was better.
Won out better than it was better than that.
Better build quality, yeah. So, but again, so people don't get butthurt. It was a sample of one. Mine came with those, although I must say I have ordered 4 watches from AliExpress, and every single one of them have come with some type of small issue.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Well, that one had a lot, but some of them come with,
Yeah.
What about you, Josh?
I don't know. I can deal, it's depending on the price point, like you guys said, and that type of thing, and how much you pay for it, how you get it, if it's used or whatever. So, I mean, I can deal with minor things like the second hand, on quartz watches, A lot of mine don't line up, and like you said, Matt, you know, sometimes it lines up like halfway, and then the next half it's not lined up. I've seen that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you understand some of that, I guess, but yeah, if I
Right.
ever buy a really expensive watch, if there's anything wrong, I'll probably have to send it back. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some other things coming in the chat here that might open up, you know, another hour if we talk about the Oris Caliber 400 and some of the issues there. But anyway, I think we'll close down the video for tonight and say thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thanks for joining us in the live chat and letting us have a good time tonight. We appreciate you tuning in and adding your comments and thoughts and questions. We appreciate that. And go check out Matt Stingray over at Rock the Watch if you don't know him, and give him a subscribe if you're not subscribed. And then Average Joe, go check him out as well. Watch Chris too. Check his channel out if you don't know him. But all right, until next time, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you.
Later, guys.
See you guys.